Hello there, welcome back. Christy and Tara McNamara and Jason Carter. It's film review time. We're going back and looking at a Netflix movie that came out a few days ago, starring Kristen Bell and Kelsey Grammer, called Like Father. Jason, what's it about?
Oh, Christy, well, it's about Kristen Bell, who plays a high-powered ad exec, and she gets stood up at the altar, so she decides to go on her honeymoon trip with her dad, who shows up after never being in her life. Yeah, they have a drunken stupor, and they end up on a ship with a lot of other cool people, but take a look at the trailer.
Honeymoon suite, congratulations. Ew, that's my dad.
I'll be back in the office on Thursday. I'm leaving early because I don't need a vacation.
Rachel, Earth to Rachel. Rachel, how are you?
I'm fine.
Are you gonna go on pretending you're still fine with what happened the other day?
I don't really care what you think, and I don't need you or anyone else worrying about me.
Yes, the ultimate movie cliche. People share a joint and it breaks the ice and everyone gets along all of a sudden.
I mean, she's a Rogen who wrote, produced, directed.
Right.
It's Seth Rogen's wife.
Right,
And
Lauren Miller Rogen.
so before I get into anything, I just have to say, I'm so tired of Seth Rogen pushing his pot on all all of us. I mean,
But he hasn't smoked in this one, that's the joke.
Well, that's the joke. Right, I get
and
it.
he's 20 pounds lighter. This movie just was, okay, I've never seen Kristen Bell more unlikable and Kelsey Grammer more likable ever until this movie. Kelsey Grammer actually was okay in this for what it is. There was every stereotype you can imagine. There was the gay couple on the cruise. There was the old couple on the cruise. There was the black couple on the cruise. And then you have Kristen Bell, who's playing, of course, a New Yorker. She's high-powered exec Rachel. She's, buying ads. She's successful, but she can't put her phone down. She's getting married. She stood up at the altar. Her dad comes back. It was just bad. And then every other word was the F-bomb. It just seemed like this was a reach for Kristen Bell. I thought, man, is it a slow day at the office? Are you bored? Is it summer vacation? What's going on, Kristen?
Maybe she's tired of saying fork all the time.
Yeah.
Right? From The Good Place.
True.
She has to say
Right.
fork instead of the F word.
But it seemed, you try it, so normally with Netflix movies, they're so lengthy, and like Jessica Jones or any kind of series, it takes a while to get into this. They went from her getting stuck at the altar, to her meeting her dad who's never been in her life ever, to them being on a boat, all within a matter of 30 minutes.
The big problem for me, I thought it was mostly okay. Everybody I've talked to who's just a regular person and not a movie critic has liked it. So I went in with, pretty good expectations of what to, and I thought it was okay. But the thing I had an issue with is the fact that, so her dad abandoned her. 26 years go by, he shows up, and even though she's prickly about it at the beginning, she winds up, it's really, here's why, which is a pretty lame reason why, and they're like, oh, okay,
right,
and everything's fine. And I was like, this is a fantasy for kids who've been abandoned and for regretful parents. This is a fantasy film because it doesn't play out like that.
Truth.
I mean, there's a lot of trauma
and baggage,
that you can never get past.
Right.
So the idea that you would just, oh, and now we're best friends.
And then so to add the drama that he was allegedly using her for money, but he wasn't because he was bankrupt because his best friend died.
Spoiler!
Well, I mean,
if you're gonna see it.
If you're gonna see it, listen, based on the recommendations we're giving right here on What the Flick, it's kind of a pass.
But what's interesting though is I read an article in the LA Times. Amy Kaufman did a little sit down with Lauren Miller Rogen, who said this was a really personal story for her. Now
I suspected
she did not get dished at the altar. She did not go on a drunken cruise with her dad who abandoned her, but there is an element with early onset Alzheimer's.
I recognize
that. Which in the film feels very wedged in, like as the emotional underpinning that they are going for, which explains certain people's actions. That is the part that really resonated with her. She even says in this article that somebody else already had this screenwriting gig and she wanted it so badly that she insinuated herself into the situation and she got the job.
That's cool. And I think good for her for being able to get this opportunity. But if early onset Alzheimer's, which is devastating. My grandmother died of Alzheimer's and my grandfather, which is devastating. Don't just wedge that in. That could have been a running theme throughout the whole movie, which would have been more poignant and more impactful. Not saying that being abandoned and having your dad coming back isn't impactful, but it's just like, pick one. And I feel out of the two, the Alzheimer's would have been more gripping for me, because it did feel like Okay, well, all right. I guess that's a problem here. You know,
We're doing this now.
Yeah, exactly. hard right. You know.
Well, and for Lauren Miller Rogan, her mother had early onset Alzheimer's, and so she and Seth Rogen have been activists in this area. So I see why they felt it was important to put it in there and to just give some storytelling, some insight into how that affects. But how would you have incorporated it then?
Good question.
Yeah.
This is like supposed to be a light dramedy.
Right. Well, but was it though? I mean, you make a choice. So you make a choice.
Well,
you say, yeah, and she made it right. She made a choice.
They want it both ways.
Yeah,
they want it to be light and wacky. It's the kind of movie that ends with, of all the cliches, and there are so many cliches here from the very start, it ends with a big karaoke performance. It ends with a big, rousing on-stage performance. Like, think about how many movies you've watched, how many dramedies or romantic comedies end with like a big stage performance or a big, public showing of I love yous, and this does that. And I'm not going to tell you what song it is.
Well, I'm going to tell you.
They perform the entire song. I'm going to say that for you.
It's not hard to figure out. But yeah, the reason that movies do that is because it leaves you with a warm feeling, and then you think you like the movie. That's what it does.
Not me.
We've
I'm
been
cynical.
duped.
That happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you think the whole movie, this is not good, and then it ends with some amazing song, and then you're like, yeah, I love that movie. That was great.
fun.
I walked out like this.
That was not the effect I got from that. And I was under a little bit of influence of a sangria. So when you're, I was feeling good, did not feel good.
I
when
think
the credits
that's
rolled.
I think we should do disclosures. I finished watching the movie at 12:40 last night. I was tired. So it could, maybe that's fair that maybe we weren't in the right mind.
I was totally awake and perky. I'd had 3 Diet Pepsis at dinner. I was like, I'm going to watch this now.
Awake and perky.
And the thing is, like Kristen Bell and Kelsey Grammer, they are total pros.
Right.
And so they do the absolute best that they can with this. I was a little distracted during the karaoke scene because they're trying to sing kind of poorly. And I'm like, it's Sideshow Bob and Anna from Frozen.
Right.
They're better than this.
Right.
Come on, guys. Either be great or be terrible.
Yeah.
But just like the whole movie, just like the movie as a whole, does it want to be a drama? Does it want to be a wacky comedy? It wants to be both, just like the karaoke scene. It's like a little microcosm of the whole film. Also, this feels like a movie that Katherine Heigl would have done like 12 years ago, right? The overworked New York City girl on the go in the big city, trying to balance work and love, and she can't have it all. This is a movie that tells you can't have it all.
You know what I'm
Right?
offended by?
What?
Seth Rogen phoning it in. I mean, this is his wife's project. Dude, you got to be all in.
Nope.
Yeah.
He has to go hiking in one
Isn't
scene.
Katherine Heigl. Katherine Heigl is a fantastic actress.
Wouldn't she have done this movie? I think she did. Wasn't this 27 Dresses? Wasn't she too busy for love?
Right. So she exactly. No, she was obsessed with weddings.
What's the one where she's with Gerard Butler, where she's a TV news producer and she's too busy for love?
Oh my gosh! I watched it this weekend. Oh my gosh! No.
They're all forgettable. That's the
Right.
problem.
The hard truth, the ugly truth.
The ugly truth. It's called The Ugly Truth.
I
Yes,
have
The Ugly
various
Truth.
names in my ear showing up. Ugly truth. Anyway, this feels really retro. She's a total cliche. Again, these are actors who do the best they can with the cliched, cheesy material. This just goes to show you guys, Netflix has way too much stuff out there. There are way too many series and movies. The night we saw The Spy Who Dumped Me, there was a full-on red carpet premiere for this movie at the ArcLight.
Yeah.
So they are trying to do
And I
the
want to
thing.
say, Kelsey Grammer was signing for the fans.
Was he?
So,
he's
yeah,
a pro. So what are our numbers? I'm saying 4. Tara, what are you saying?
I'm going with 5.
Jason.
It's a solid 3.
All right, our number is a 4. Is a 42% on the tomato meter. This is kind of a, fold laundry and have a cup of tea and watch the
There you
movie.
go.
That's perfect.
Bye.